So I'm Dr. Robin Lovelace. I'm a University Academic Fellow here at the University of Leeds, and my speciality is transport and big data, and that's the title of my fellowship is transport and big data, and basically it's about bringing new methods from data science into transportation. And I am based primarily at ITS, which is where we're at here, the Institute for Transport Studies, but I also have desk space at LEADER, which is the Leeds Institute for Data Analytics. So my work really involves lots of data processing, and data is a really important part of what we do, and also the software used to generate that data. And I've got a strong emphasis on open access and open source software, basically trying to democratize the process of data analysis for policy. Open access is a really important part of what we do as academics for a number of reasons. I think a good place to start is the funding and the fact that academia is primarily publicly funded. So there's a very strong argument to say that the benefits, the fruits of academic research should be available to the public rather than just being for an ivory tower of other academics or even, your small research group. I think there's a very strong scientific argument which revolves around reproducibility. If you have some results and you don't have the data to back it up and no one can test that your conclusions were based on the data, then there's a lack of reproducibility. So that scientific argument, for me, almost is more important, although I guess from the funding perspective, the public benefit is really important. In terms of my own data provision, well, they've been absolutely huge, to be honest. So we have a tool that I actually have part of it up on the screen here. So this is just one example of what can happen when you make data publicly accessible. We've produced a tool called the Propensity to Cycle tool, which is funded by the Department for Transport. And it actually came from us, the academics. We said, wouldn't it be great if the public could have access to the results of this research, not only in the report, but also the ability to download and take ownership of the data. So we have increasing numbers of projects. We have a kind of interactive web portal, and this allows people to look at, for example, estimates of cycling on the road network, and it's all live, so you can test this out as the public from the website pct.bike, but you can go beyond just being able to see the results, and we added a page on the website that's called Region Data, and this allows you to download data for local authorities and the public to make use of. And that's great because it allows the public to see what we've been doing. It's really good from a research perspective because it allows other academics to not have to reinvent the wheel. They can start with what we've done and then build on it. And then they're more likely to cite our work as well in future publications. So I think it was Isaac Newton said that he was building on the shoulders of giants. If you make your data open access, you're being part of this process of allowing other people to build on your shoulders rather than making everyone start from scratch each time. So that's a really fantastic example. And we've had community engagement. So Bath Cycling Campaign, for example, has used the data that we've provided to help create better plans for their local council. and loads of local authorities are downloading the data. So in terms of having research impact, we can show that many local authorities are using our data. So the impact has been really beneficial for ourselves and wider society, I think. Yeah, I mean, it's certainly one thing that it's done is led to a lot of demand for training in terms of how to use this data. So I teach transport data science. Well, there's a course called R for transport applications that we do at the university, and that's publicly facing. And a number of local authorities have sent people on that. So that has led to some collaboration. I think even more importantly with this, making not just the data open access, but also the code underlying it, that's led to a lot of interest internationally, so that people in other countries can see what we've done, and they will get in contact with me and say, oh, this is really interesting, could you help us build a similar tool in, for example, Austria, I know, is interested in building a tool. I'm going to the USA next week for a conference, and I'm going to do a workshop on this. And because all of the code and the data is open access, they can really understand it and trust the results of that. So it certainly led to a number of collaborations, yeah. Well, doing events like this and just talking through the benefits, I think one thing that's helped me persuade other people and colleagues to go open access is to address the concerns of open access. And I've had it myself, where I think if I provide the data, which is a key resource of academic research, to others, how do I know that they're not going to take my ideas or take credit for it? But in a strange way, I've found the opposite is true, that if you make the data available, you've got a kind of line of attribution from that. So anyone using this will be likely to cite that research, and it generates more research around it. So if you want your research area to grow, there's no better way almost than to just publish a data set around it. I think another concern that people have is around confidentiality and anonymity, which is vital. And I'm lucky in a way, because all of the data that we use for the propensity to cycle, you can see it's geographic data. So it will say there's a number of people could be cycling on these roads, but it doesn't tell us anything about them. And it's based on the 2011 census, so it's quite old. If you're working with more sensitive data, then you will have to do something to that data to anonymize it, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. So aggregating data and de-anonymization processes all make that possible. I found the support really good, particularly in terms of making the publications available. So the open data is one side of the coin. I think another one is the publications themselves, and again, the benefits are massive of allowing the public to see your research. You're more likely to get citations. People who go into academia later may have come across and read your work earlier. And in terms of data upload, there's a really supportive team of people who'll guide you through the process of uploading data. So the support there's been really good generally.